lovables. Welcome. Thank you for considering working with Resilience Psychological Services. I am Dr. Shenell, Dr. Shenell Evans, and I refer to our community as lovables because you are. You are lovable. And the work that we do is professional, it's ethical, but it's also personal. And it's love of supporting humans on their journey. I founded the practice in October 2017 as a space to help others where I saw needs based on my own clinical work, my research studies, and my lived experience as a Black woman in America. Resilience Psychological Services was developed to support high achieving adults who enjoy excelling in careers and school, but they also want to enjoy the rest of adulthood. I used to say adulting sucks, right? And we want to be able to have a different experience. Like, why does this have to suck so bad? Well, I wanted to be so grown when I was younger, but now I'm here and this ain't it, right? This is not it. So that was the whole premise around me deciding to start a practice, because that's how I felt, right? I wanted support, and I had to figure out how to take these years of schooling and research and clinical work and bring it down to size that made it practical and relevant to my day-to-day life, so that I didn't feel like adulting sucked, even as I worked to help people. So I created the hashtag even adulting resiliently, which currently only I use, but it's going to blow up one day. Okay. And I also created a framework that targets the needs of folks like me, folks who are all about self-mastery and self-improvement. So if that's you, honey, you have found your home, okay? Your home for support. And you don't have to be Black, right, to benefit from the support that we provide. But I'm very intentional in that the main assumptions that were part of developing my framework were coming from research around resilience in Black and brown folks. And so their resilience capabilities, but then also their resilience needs. And I believe firmly that by utilizing the best of what we know from science, from other disciplines, that we can help some of the most vulnerable in our society. And generally what we see is that when we support and uplift and help Black and brown folks, everybody else wins too, right? So look at that historically and think about it for a minute. But that's the premise behind, specifically, you'll see our marketing and things targeting Black and brown folks. Generally women are who gravitate to us, but we also have several heart-centered men who come to the practice. But we're not just a practice that only services Black and brown folks. We service everyone. We support everyone. And it's just, I'm also just, we want to be intentional in who and in the how, right? So this video, I'm going to give you an overview of the resilience and post-traumatic growth framework that I developed. Like I said, based on my research, based on clinical practice. And so I'm going to share my screen so that we can look at it together. Okay, so here we have the resilience and post-traumatic growth framework that I had been working on since undergrad, really. I was able to very early on find my kind of intellectual home, if you will, in positive psychology and work around adult resilience, especially intrigued me. And then I learned about post-traumatic growth, and that just blew my mind. Like the fact that folks it's not just about what happens after the traumatic event or, what is post-traumatic growth. It's the capacity, the ability to experience certain positive byproducts in the aftermath of adversity. And often we know adversity is not cut and dry, right? So things are ongoing. So it's being able to experience positive life changes as you're still walking through something, as you're still healing. So we need, what I found is that we need resilient skills to be cultivated. And those things help put us on the path of developing post-traumatic growth, help us to open up as we are still yet figuring out and working through things. So I developed a framework that I call the buoys of resilience. So I use a lot of kind of water motifs. And for this, I'm going to take you through these really quickly. Self-awareness is where we start everything, right? We've got to be aware of ourselves and what's happening on the inside of us. So are you able to observe and describe your internal world on multiple levels, right? The thought level, the emotion level, sensation-wise, actions and action urges, your motivations, your aspirations. Can you see you? Is the question. Then the next buoy of resilience is self-compassion. What type of attention are you paying to yourself? Is it dismissive, judgmental? We want it to be kind. So we work with folks to cultivate self-awareness skills. We work with folks to cultivate self-compassion. And I should say that this is a broad framework. So each of my clinicians, the team that we work with, they're going to come at this from a different place based on their clinical skills, based on their preferred ways to practice. But we all agree to these as kind of pillars, needs that we see that folks have and want to help them to develop. So what's the emotional tone of your inner dialogue? Is that next buoy, what is causing us to think about. Next, we have self-care. And this is beyond just going to get your hair done, get your nails did, or whatever that thing is that is external, right? That we can go do. And those are great things, and those are often called for. But if they are not in response to what you are now aware of and kind to yourself about, then it's not going to hit the spot. I say you can get your hair done, your nails will be great, your outfit, everything on point, but you'll still feel like shit, boo-boo. And that's because you've not met that core need that caused that emotion to come up in the first place. So we want to check for actual responsiveness to your needs. And do your self-care efforts match what's really showing up? Okay. I say these three kind of put us in the path of cultivating more self-love, right? Okay, we'll continue on to the next set of buoys. Self-inquiry. All right, now that we're more aware, we're more compassionate, we're responsive, that's taking care of a lot in the body. The self-care is more embodied and less external. So you're responding to what shows up physically when you have emotions or situations happen. Now we can get to the thought level. So self-inquiry says, can I bring back all the other data points that are relevant for figuring out what's going on in my life and what I want? What are my values? What do I know about the person or the people that I'm engaging with in this environment? What other facts do I need to keep in mind? Like the fact that I want a promotion and, other things, if it's a work related thing or the way I want to show up as a parent or as a partner, bringing all that stuff back up to the forefront because the emotional data tends to crowd it out. So if we bring those things back to the forefront and really think through and sort through other things that are important to us as we're making decisions, when we make those values aligned decisions, we want to move into self-determination where we're making values aligned actions. We're taking values aligned actions and finding values aligned solutions and engaging in committed action to fulfill our dreams, to make our lives as we want them to be. But we got to look at the quality of how we engage. Are we procrastinating? Do we tend to work against ourselves, disengage from our chosen actions? So self-determination, we got to check in there. And then the last buoy is self-reflection, because we've got to be able to take some time and review how effective we are being in our lives. And that's not just about, winning or being right. Actually, we want to drop those paradigms and just focus on being effective or ineffective. how's this working out for me? And when we can bring ourselves more and more, we take time out that's separate, but then also more and more in the moment to really look at how is this working for me? And is it worth trying to win or be right or be good? Or can I take a loss? Can I take an L here? Because actually that would be more effective to what I'm working on internally and my objective in the here and now. Sometimes we have to do that. Other times we got to rise to the occasion. It's all about paying attention in the now and not going back into old scripts and old stuff. So the way in which we work is very practical. It's very deliberate. We want you to engage with your pain, engage with what's showing up so that you can then create from there. We can't change anything we won't look at, right? So we got to have the self-awareness and these other buoys. I can describe them to you in a linear way, but the process, honey, is messy as hell and it's not linear. And I think of these more as a network of things that if we can get you skillful with each of these buoys, you have much more buoyancy. So the waters of life are going to come, they are going to crash over you. But what we want is not that you don't go under, because, that's life, but that you don't stay under, you don't stay down, you can come back up and you can recognize and produce reliable results in your comeback upness. So that you know for a fact what you're creating, right? And some of us might say manifesting, right? That you know what it takes to help get yourself back in that space of what I call your emotional home, the place that feels really good, where there's joy, there's bliss, there's peace. And when there's not, we get curious, we get inquisitive, and we look inward and we seek expert support. And that's what you will find at Resilience Psychological Services. So thank you for taking the time, dear ones, to watch this video, to hear about this framework. I think it's really important to give you a broad strokes overview of what we do, like what are you going to get out of this, right? By working with us. It's not going to come in a formulaic way, but it is going to come through. And so trust and know that we've got you, and we would love to support you. And you have a consultation coming up. If all goes well, our clinicians would love to work with you and partner with you on your life journey to becoming who it is you want to be in this world. So I have to go, lovables, but you'd hear from me from time to time through our newsletter as well. And check out, social media and all that stuff, website. But we love to support you. Truly know that from the bottom of our hearts. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Bye.